Welcome to another episode of the Representative Party podcast. And as usual, I'm just John. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about possible platform for a Representative Party. But first, I have to ask you a question, and maybe someone could answer this for me. But have any of you had any problems with a woodpecker? I'm just curious. Some of you guys are drifting off here, and you need to get back on track here. Listen, I got a woodpecker pecking on one of my trees out front, and I don't know how to stop it. And it's a pretty ugly tree, but we still like it. So anyway, anybody got any suggestions on how to keep woodpeckers away? I will tell you, I feed a lot of birds around here, so there may not be a way. If there's free food and they poke a hole in some of my trees, they may think that's okay. Anyway, that's just something that started out. Okay, what about a platform? Now remember, I'm not running this thing. I'm just trying to get the word out, get people to start thinking about what's best for our country. And there's some good things happening right now, and there's some not so good things happening right now. So, and that's, once again, it's my opinion. I don't share the same opinion with anybody, I don't think. So I think that makes me kind of a middle of the road guy in some things. But first of all, I'll just read you what I think the order. I was not going to put them in any kind of particular order, but as far as what the United States government should do, I'm going to try to put them in an order that I feel is probably I would hope would be representative of most of the people, regardless of the party. And so the first thing I'll talk about when I get to it, it's going to be what I think the government should be doing is national security. We got to have peace through strength. I just heard our current president say that once this crisis is over with Ukraine, he's going to get with China and with Russia and talk about cutting the militaries in half, both the militaries in half. Now, I spent 30 years in the Cold War, and you can't trust anything out there. So this I am definitely, you'll hear me talk out against our current president about that. Some people won't like it. But the idea that he wants to cut our military in half is insane. That's all I can say. It's insane. It's like he wants us to become part of the New World Order, where everybody's equal. But we can't be equal. We got to have peace through strength. And I'll discuss that later. But as you can see, I'm a little angry about that statement. And I heard it this morning, and I didn't hear it on some whatever side. I heard it on the BBC, and they were talking to a couple of U.S. congressmen at the time, and they played that clip for him, and they danced around and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, that's the first priority any government has, is to protect their nation. And then healthcare, honestly, I think maybe we may be headed in the right direction a little bit with RFK Jr. I'm not sure. He may want to, like so many people, they want to go too far. But I'm not against vaccines. I get vaccinated. I do not take the COVID vaccine, but I do take all the other ones when they come around. And they work fine, and they've been tested for years and years and years. And used to, you couldn't get a free pass and say, we're going to give this to the government, we're going to give this to the people, but we got to have an opening that we can't be sued because we may not be right. Well, then you shouldn't give it to us, and you shouldn't force anybody to take it. So anyway, that's part of it. We got a lot of challenges coming, a lot of challenges with on one of my other items down there has to do with the homeless and stuff. Well, if we're going to try to fix this homeless problem, we're going to need some facilities, because honestly, many of, maybe most, are have some sort of emotional or physical or mental issues that they're not dealing with. And when we shut down those hospitals, we just put these people on the street. These people got on the street and they had children and they did all kinds of things, and which I don't say that as I'm like talking down to them, but somewhere we need to get them off the streets. There's a lot of crime around these places. There's a lot of unreported crime. So healthcare and big pharma. And here's a thought: how angry would you be if you knew that 15 years ago they found a cure to cancer, but because they can drag it on and improve it a little bit, go a little bit further so they could make more money? How angry would you be? I'd be very angry. Fortunately, no, that's wrong. I was going to tell you that I've not lost someone to cancer, but I have. And if I would find that out, I would be so angry. And if I was the government, those guys who knew this would be in jail, maybe the death penalty. That's terrible. But anyway, healthcare would be the second thing that we need to get fixed up, and that actually goes along hand in hand with our homeless issue. But we'll talk about that later. And also, we have crime. It's terrible. In the country we live in, the so-called milk and honey, there's way too many crimes and way too many. It takes too long to have a trial. We just had one here of an old guy who shot a young man who came to his door, went to the wrong address. He may have been a racist. I don't know. I didn't know him. He may have been scared, but regardless, he just saw a young black man at his door knocking on it, and he just fired 2 shots. Now, the young man, fortunately, didn't die, and I think he may continue on, and I pray that he has a healthy life and stuff. But it took 2 years. It took 2 years for this to finally get to trial. And why is that? That's just more money for lawyers. That's just more money for the court system. It's just awful. It just bleeds us dry. So, and then, if you're wanting to hear the end of the story, the guy was found guilty, as he should have been, but he made a plea bargain for 5 years or less. Well, the guy's 85 years old, and he died yesterday. So they never went to the sentencing phase. Sounds terrible, but I guess that saves money for some people to not have to pay for a lawyer to go through that. But the idea that really justice wasn't served because we don't have a quick and speedy trial system. So that's another item which would, I imagine, would be number 3 or 4, and then the homeless and the panhandling problem, which I don't think it's really a federal government problem, but if we move the money around enough, stop paying some of these ridiculous, health care prices, and I don't mean cutting health care to the people who receive it. I mean cutting health care prices to the insurance companies who cover it, and cutting the doctors maybe some slack. I don't know. When you think of our health care problems and stuff, don't you remember when you got shots when you were a kid? Maybe you don't, but some of you will hear this. And you got shots, and you were back running around in a day or two. Sometimes you felt almost immediately better. But they quit doing that and started giving us pills and keeping us sick for 2 or 3 weeks so we can continue to take medicine. And doesn't that anger you a little bit? What I'd ask you to do is ask your doctor, why don't we get shots anymore? Can I just get a shot to replace this 2 weeks of misery that you put me on pills here for, that we really don't know what the results may be worse than what a shot would be. At least a shot would make you feel better. I'm told if you go on a cruise and you get sick, they'll give you a shot because they don't want to ruin your whole cruise, and they don't want to pass the illness. They don't want people getting sick, and then you're in a closed quarters there. So why can't we do that here? Why do we have to suffer through the flu or through a cold or through whatever happens to us when we could probably get it in a shot form? I mean, these are the things that are for us today, for Americans. And if I take just a minute to go back to national security, that's both internal and external. We got to shut the borders down, and I don't care if we shut them down completely. And let's get a count and get those who don't belong here out of here. Get those who are maybe waiting on a visa or waiting on something. Maybe we can give them a little bit of a break. I mean, some children were born here, which I never agreed with that idea that because you're born here, you're a citizen. But that's the case, and that's the law. So those people who were born here and they never known, or even young children who were brought across the border and have never known any life but the American life. Some of them can't even speak Spanish. So we have to have a program. You can't just kick people out like that. So, I mean, just think about it. We have to protect our own territory. We got to go in and get these dirt bags out. I love the idea that they made the cartels a terrorist, identify them as a terrorist organization. We can use our military now to go in there. And why we haven't done it yet, I don't know. Because they know where they live. And I know it's sad because there'll be children around, there'll be all kinds of things around. But think how many of our children have died because of fentanyl coming across the border. So it's just the primary job of our government and of our military is to protect our borders. Secondary thing is to support our allies. And that's another thing. All our current president is asking the other countries to do is to build an army big enough to protect themselves. I have an army, I can protect my own borders, I can deal with my own trade, I can do all those kind of things. And then if it's, they should be and I'll speak on this some time or another, but there used to be anyway, when I was doing military stuff, is they had like level 1, level 2, and level 3 threats. Well, those threats, okay, if you're a country and you have an army, you should have an army that can handle a level 1 or 2 threat, probably. So you got to have it strong enough to take care of yourself. And then if you're facing a level 3 threat, and there's guidelines on what's what, then your neighbors step in. That's when your neighbors step in and say, no, you're not going to come in here. But now we have a president that wants to cut our military in half. Anybody see that coming? Anybody out there see that he is actually talking with China and Russia about cutting our military in half? And this is going to just anger a lot of my friends, but my God, think about it. We need to get people in place to go in, to work, to do the people's business, not to do their business, not to run a little group therapy thing on wealthy people or whatever the hell they're trying to do. I'm just saying that you have to, or we have to, figure out a way to do it. I know I've been told many times one person can't do anything. Well, I'm not going to sit here and not keep talking. So what I would hope, and I'm asking again, is add this to your Facebook page, add it to your TikTok, add it to wherever you want, because this isn't Republican, this isn't Republican or Democrat. This is us. This is representative party stuff. This is representative party that's going to make churches more responsible. You know, maybe it's okay for them to be taxable as long as they're tracking, or to be tax-free possibly, as long as they're given. You know, they can be tax-free on what they give. And it would be we'd have to watch these things very close, because honestly, it's sad to say, but you know, religious and organized religion is a business. Now, you may have a little bitty church, and it may anger you because all of a sudden I have to pay taxes, or I have to give more of our church money away. You know what? It's funny, but you know, when God asked, you know, for 10%, now I don't know how many people who do that. I certainly haven't figured out how to afford it, but I would if I could. But when he asked for that, it's kind of said that it would be returned to you like tenfold or sevenfold, whatever. As you can see, I'm not a Bible scholar like this. But it's not going to. What we do is we pay our taxes and take our deductions, and that's not like a gift, you know. If you're getting something back, that isn't a gift. So, and this is the way the churches that I want them to do. I want them to join. I want them to be organized and be local, and to take care of their own local homeless, their own local panhandlers. The law makes it illegal, but you can't do that until there's a place for them to be housed. Because you don't want to make it illegal and put them in jail. You want to make it illegal, put them in a place, give them food, and put them to work. Now, they can find a job, or the local community there can find a job for them. There's trash everywhere. It can be picked up. There's signs that need to be repainted. There's all kinds of stuff that's just an eyesore to our country and to our neighborhoods. You know, even if you find someone who's a shut-in and needs their house painted. You know, I know some churches do that, and that other group that Jimmy Carter had, they did some stuff like that. But let's take these people off the street. You know what might happen? It just might happen. They might go, you know what, I have a little pride in myself now. I'm building up a little confidence. So I know I'm getting long. Oh yeah, way long. So listen, we're going to talk about this more. As you can see, I'm a little worked up about this cutting our military in half. And you have not heard the last of that. So with that, don't forget about my woodpecker problem. If you want to post something in there, I don't know if there's spray or something. And as always, I'm going to tell you, go out, make somebody smile, and try to do something nice for a stranger. You know what? Right now, my AI and I wrote this song that you're hearing in the background. I've decided to name him Jasper for right now, and he does all the work. I just give him a thought. So don't think I'm writing songs and stuff. So you know, I guess now from Jasper and Jess John, I'd just like to say, hey, for God's sake, love one another.